Hello, and thanks again for tuning in to the Mostly Professional podcast. My name is Matthew James French, and today we are talking to our guest, Jake Moss. We'll be talking about painting, writing, theatre, working overseas, a very special woman named Margi, and growing up. This is the fourth and final part of my conversation with Jake Moss. Hope you enjoy, and let's get right into it. Yeah, so being the boss, being the kind of like creative director.
Yeah, it means like I can, like we were just talking about during the break, is that I'd never auditioned people for the plays or whatever that I've done. So the day I met Michael Allen, who was the lead actor in Sex Shop, he was in year 12. He did drama at school. I'd never seen him act at all. And I just said, like, yeah, do this thing. And I paid him and everything. And that was one of the best decisions ever because that guy was just perfect. And the other two actors in the play were great too. And I'd worked with two of them before. One of them just in like workshops. The other I'd acted in a play with. But yeah, I just knew like this is going to be good. And yeah, the good thing about being like the boss of like the stuff I do is I can just do stuff like that. Whereas if I was at a theatre company, they'd be like, I don't know how they work, but I'm pretty sure they'd be like,
hoops to jump.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like I can just meet this kid and be like, fuck it, I'm like, I want to put him in a play, and I can just do it. Like, and same with like control of other things. Like opening night for Is It Pussy in Heaven, I gave everyone free wet pussy shots. It's like I can just do. I don't know. It's like I think that's why I really like doing things on the level I do them now. So even though maybe I don't have the budget to reach a larger audience or to get a bigger audience so I can do bigger venues or anything like that, the good thing about it though is that with what I do have, I can do like whatever I want with. So yeah, free wet pussy shots, casting whoever I want. Yeah, like I don't know, I want to give people like something special, but it's hard to do that if I was like working a part of a bigger group, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that not being tied down or under some kind of structure or regiment can also mean like, oh, well, I'm going to do music now. I'm going to paint this and like
exactly
mix things up and change on the fly.
And just be like, that's another good thing about not having received grants or anything, is that obviously if I want to do an exhibition, if I got a grant, it's like, okay, maybe now I can't paint whatever I want. Because like, I'm pretty sure if someone from the art grant council, whatever it is, if they walked in and saw like these certain paintings, they might be like, what? Give us our money back.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would, but like, I just have no fear of that. There's nothing that I like owe anyone.
Well, with their money, there's some kind of not even like guidelines.
And if I did have someone else's money, I would want to respect that. Whereas I wouldn't want to be a dick. I wouldn't want to do stuff they weren't happy with.
Yeah.
So in a way, like I don't even want their money, cause like then I'd feel bad and I'd feel, I just like doing whatever I want. And like I don't know, I don't know. Not to put down artists that do receive grants though, because like that's sick. Like they get grants, they get free money. That's amazing.
Yeah, but they definitely have the same thoughts and concerns of like, is this gonna stifle
future possibilities? Or so I think that's why I do like just
because like the extremity of that is corporate art. I was like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I'm very not comfortable because but I'm happy with where I am now and how I work, how I do things. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, self-funding and
yeah.
So I mean, on that, it's like it might be a little bit of a drier topic, but I think some people would be interested to know about your selling some of your work online. And
What type of work? What do you mean? Like,
So you've got written work on your website.
I've written work though. So the books which sold out a few years ago, earlier this year, I was like, okay, I'll put them online as like a download. I think I got rid of that page actually. Maybe no, it's there as of like 2 days ago. So I put it back there. But
I was having a look at it before we.
Yeah. So it's back there now. But they can get that there. But yeah.
Because what I mean by that is I think that there's people, and it depends on the medium. It depends on how you want to do it. But for example, you've got written work because there's people that are like, I want to create. I want to have that help me financially. It's not like it's all about the money, but it doesn't hurt. And to me, that's an example of you can do that yourself. Here's a way to do it. And maybe stop complaining about it and look into it. And when I was having a look at your website and having a look at the store on there, I didn't feel like I was being sold anything. I didn't feel like I was being pushed at. I was just like, if you want it, it's available. I
think it's one of those things how if people want something, everything's so accessible these days. If someone wants something, like, I don't need to, like, again, not putting down people that do this because what works for them is different than what works for me, but I always just feel better about not pimping stuff out a lot. And like, if someone, like I was saying earlier, how like I don't mind if like I don't get like a shout out, or if someone's like, oh, don't forget to follow Jake here or here. It's like, if someone's really that interested right now, they can just look me up. And same with like books, like, if someone's that interested, they can just, I don't want you to feel like you're being sold something. Like, it's there if you want it, but like, I'm not gonna say thanks for downloading my book before you've downloaded it, or what, so I'm glad that you said that, because like, that's what I want. I don't want people to feel like, I'm always shoving my stuff down their throats.
Because there is, and I think that this is a positive thing, I think that there is a rise and an increase, and this is because of the internet, that there are artists that are now able to become more financially stable through their work. Visual artists are able to get commissions and sell prints and shirts and things like that more easily because of the internet. I think that's great. I think there are written word artists that can sell their books and scripts and things online, again, in a way that isn't necessarily pushing in people's faces. And I agree with what you were saying about the way that things are so accessible that if you want it, it's pretty easy to find things.
You know how to Google, you know how to Facebook, you know how to search things.
I mean, I would differ on the side of I would want to make it easier for people to look it up. But again, when I looked you up tonight on Google, because I was curious, like, what does it look like when I just Google you? It's like, oh, there you go, that wasn't so hard.
See, like, I don't know. It's, I don't know. And that matters to me too, because like, it'd be easy to like make it more, not accessible, but more visible. But like, that I sell books online or that, whatever, but it just wouldn't feel right if I was like...
but that's not your focus.
That's it, And also, the amount of, not to talk finances, but the amount I make from books is significantly less than what I make through paintings. So like, it's not, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to miss out on dinner if people don't buy my book this week. So like, I don't really have like a need to like advertise it and,
Because again, not to talk details on the finance, but some of the ways that you've, I'm going to hate saying this, make a living from some of your work is getting commissioned for private, let's call them private paintings, private artworks,
pieces, whatever.
Various things.
I've only ever done a few commissioned pieces, because like I'll sell. So how I sell paintings is either there are three ways. At an exhibition, which I do once a year. So once a year, I'll do an exhibition, a public one. I'll sell paintings there. Then there'll also be private sales. Just through, like, tomorrow I'm meeting a guy at Goma, and he's bought paintings from both of my Australian exhibitions. And there's something that I'm doing in the future that I can't talk about, but he's helping me like with that. So I have people like him that are like private collectors that like buy my stuff kind of regularly. So exhibitions through like private collectors, and then the third way would be once every year, at the end of the year, I do like a public sale on Instagram, like really cheap paintings, and then that is another way I sell paintings. But and then I've only ever done a few like commission pieces, because normally with the private sales I'll finish them and then I'll send people like a PDF with like a bunch of paintings, dimensions, prices, just to like the people that buy my stuff privately. And I've done a few commissions. I recently did a commission. I got commissioned by Mark Eaton of Eaton Management, the acting manager dude.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
And Margi's commissioned me to do a painting as well, but that's only like become a regular thing where it's like, okay, because I have a few things lined up, I think people are more like, okay, let's get him to do a painting. Whereas in the past, it would just be people buying things I've already done. But because that's, I make a significant amount more from paintings than from books. I don't feel a need to like. That's why I took the books off my website for a while. I'm like, I don't need this here. Like, I'd rather it just be like a portfolio. But then I realized, like, yesterday or the day before, like, okay, like, I shouldn't stop people. If they want to download a book, just have it there. Like, they can,
Yeah, because I think what I've noticed is that when people really do want to support you, specifically, or when people want to support artists or people that are making stuff, and they're like, I like your work, I want to buy a thing that you produce, or they want to support you in some way, they're very honest, and they're like, no, I want to give you my money. You're not tricking me. I don't feel tricked.
I've had this conversation with people trying to convince me before, like, to take their money.
Yeah.
But
and I can understand not wanting to or wanting to, but I think that that's a good thing, that there are people that are like, I understand that you may or may not be super financially well off anyway, or I value the thing you make. Here's a way to exchange values. I pay for your painting. I pay for your book. And I think that, again, with the way that like your website, for example, is set up, it feels like a portfolio, and there's a very subtle option to pay to access certain things. And I think that is the difference between selling it being the forefront. Again, no disrespect to artists that make money off their work. A lot of them, like, I commend them for being able to do that. I'm sure they'd much rather do that than suffering in some other way. But yeah, it's a different approach, and people can see it. You know, the people aren't dumb. They can feel when they're being like forcefully pushed towards buying something.
I don't know. It's hard to talk on what works for other people or not, but like the way I do it, like, that just works for me. So I feel like most comfortable doing that. But I don't know.
Yeah, because I've had the opposite bad thought.
What do you mean?
Of what can I make that then I can sell? But that's the thing, is I've caught that thought of like, that's not the point.
I'm a massive fan of a lot of people, but Andy Warhol and what he did, how he combined business and art. So like, I am a mix of like, I do that. I make stuff that I want to sell, but it never diminishes the artistic integrity of the piece. Like, it's always, if anything, it helps it. 'Cause it's like, hey, okay, let's make this a bit more commercial, but I would never do something just because I think it's gonna sell.
Yeah.
So like, the play title is A Pussy in Heaven. I knew like that would work and that'd get young people in.
Yeah.
But that also had a meaning, like the context in the play of like when that line is said and how he says that line because he's a young teenage boy. He's horny. He's a teenage kid. He talks like that. And he's about to kill himself. He's literally a virgin and is just wondering, like, I wonder if there's pussy in heaven. So it's like, it's so much more like sincere than someone who might think, oh, is there pussy in heaven? What a
catchy title.
Yeah, what a horrible title. Like, how rude. But it's like, no, it's actually sad as fuck. Like, so, like, although I knew that title would sell and get people in, it's also, that still has a lot of artistic value.
It's very interesting that we're talking about this specifically, because I have a day job in a bookstore.
Which bookstore?
I'm not sure if I should be saying that. Future Matt, blurt that out if you have to.
Yeah.
Which one?
Which one? We're very blurping shit out. Beeping shit out? Anyway.
Beeping shit out. I work at...
True.
Yeah.
I know a priest that lives across the road from there.
There you go.
Father Paul Chandler, hello.
There is a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
I've heard about it.
And lots of people like it. Lots of people have bought it. I've sold thousands of them. Then I started noticing people hopping on the trend of putting naughty words in the titles of their book to catch attention.
You know who did it first?
Was it Michelle Knight?
I really wanted you to say my name. Suki cunts. Anyway, yeah, what were you saying?
Trademark.
Yeah.
Trademark Jake Moss putting swears in titles.
Yeah, I really wanted you to... Yeah, I set you up and everything.
When did Suki Cunts come out?
2015.
I'll have to check the publication date of Life-Changing... Not Life-Changing, maybe. Subtle Art.
That only came out last year, didn't it?
Don't know. I have to double check.
You work at a bookshop.
Dude.
I think it came out last year.
Probably like a year or two ago. But anyway, I then started noticing all these books that were like, stop giving a shit. Life ain't so crappy. And it's like, man, it feels cheap. You're not doing this because this was your idea.
You're doing it just because of
the trend. You know?
That's right.
And it's like people can feel it. Especially when you're closer to all the location of those things.
Even the title of Suki Cunts has context, because in the book, it's the main character is, he calls people Suki Cunts, and they're on a train. He, like, in a monologue, he thinks of them as Suki Cunts because they're complaining about things that aren't a big deal at all. So I love it when someone says something about that title, because they are being Suki Cunts. Like, you're complaining about something that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So I think that's funny. It's just like life imitating art.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say? Sorry, you said that was leading into something.
No, it was about that specifically. The title, Is There Pussy in Heaven, actually has context, actually has meaning.
Same with Suki Cunts, yeah.
Same with Suki Cunts. And I'm sure the subtle art of not giving a fuck was one, the actual intentional meaning of the title, and it's catchy, sure. People know it's catchy, whatever. But then when people started jumping on the bandwagon,
and kind
it's
of
like, you didn't do that because it's what you felt was right.
Now they're just making noise because they're just doing the same shit.
Yeah.
I love titles. I love good title. I hope I never release something with a shit title. Like, I don't even know where to start with that, but I love a good title. When there's a really good movie, a really good book, and it has a shit title, I get like a little bit mad. I'm just like, man, you could have killed it with that. Like, everything's good. That film with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal called Prisoners. Amazing movie. Shit title. Like, there's no prison in that movie. Anyway, so like, I love that movie though. I remember leaving it and thinking, why the fuck was it called Prisoners? Like, I get it. People that kidnap these little girls, whatever, but it's like, they could have come up with something better. Anyway, there's my little...
That's always that and character names.
Yeah, character names are just so like...
You don't want to seem like someone who spent too long on the character name.
Or also not any time at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is John Smith. It's like, fuck off.
I saw a friend today, an old friend that I caught up with, this is a little bit off topic, but don't worry about it. He got caught, he was drunk, he jumped a train, he got caught by the police, and he told me today how they asked for his name because he didn't have a ticket, and he said his name was Adam Liams. I'm like, how you must have been drunk. Just Adam Liams. Like, yeah, I feel like there's some films or other pieces of literature that do that, where it's like, that's a shit name. Like, give us something cool. Shit names, shit titles. I can't do it. Yeah, fuck that.
You'll have to. What do you think? What do you think of the title of this?
I liked it. It was cute. Like, yeah, it's good. It's like the Mostly Professional podcast. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. That's a good podcast name.
Seal of approval. Tick of approval.
Yeah, from a guy who just ranted about how much he hates shit titles.
Oh, I'm glad. Oh, it warms the cockles of my heart.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't like the title.
If your podcast was called something shit, I wouldn't come on it.
Yeah, wouldn't have done it.
Thank you very much for listening to my conversation with Jake Moss. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, leave a comment below, and tell me what you think. My social media links are in the description, as well as my guests today. Please make sure to check them out, follow them, and be supportive. I'll catch you next time, probably with a solo episode, and I'll make that known on my social media. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.